Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing with the new Dina Wakley February 2021 release with a new stamp set called Not Subtle and this brand new stencil which is the fractured circles. So I'm working in my junk journal and I had this page that had black paint on it and so on, and I just wanted to play, and this is what I do in my junk journal. I just sort of play. I didn't have an idea of what I was doing, but I had some new stencils and I had some new products and I just wanted to see what they could do. Now, at the moment, I'm a little bit, I can't even think of the words to describe it. I'm working with my non-dominant hand because I've broken my wrist. So I was getting a little bit, you can see my lovely cast there, I was getting a little bit frustrated with my stenciling, and you can see it has sort of bled out a little bit and it's not looking as crisp as it should be, and that is totally user error. That is not the stencil from Dina, that is me. It's because I don't have the control with my hand to actually get the ink going, and I'm sort of sliding it rather than pouncing it, so ink's going, or paint is going underneath. So that was frustrating me, and this is what happens sometimes when you're doing things like this. You think everything's going wrong, and how am I going to fix it, and what am I going to do, which was running through my head as I was doing this. And then I thought, well, look, you're just playing, it doesn't matter, just play and see what happens. So that's sort of what I decided to do. Just so you're aware as well, on the opposite page, that's a new, and also a new Dina stencil, which is just beautiful. And I did that, I had my jelly plate out and had black paint on it, and just pressed my journal page onto the gel plate with the stencil on. So I got that beautiful image into my book. And this words, I was not made to be subtle, are part of this stamp set that this lovely lady came from as well. So it all works well together. With the face, I didn't like the stark white against that background, so I wanted to paint it. And I painted using a technique that I've been using a lot, and I know Dina uses a lot too, using lots of random colours on the face. Again, this is my first time painting this type of thing with my left hand, so I was a little bit more heavy-handed than I usually am with my painting, but you know, it happens. So you know, I could look at this and go, oh my goodness, that's such a mess, but I knew if I kept working at it, and I had some tricks and tips up my shop sleeves, that I could go, okay, you can kind of get this back in the end. So my encouragement for particularly beginners or people who sort of come in and get to this stage and go, oh, it's horrible, I can't do this anymore, is stick with it. And in most cases you can rescue it, and if you can't, that's okay, you can always put a coat of paint over the top. So what I'm doing is I've chosen 4 colours, 3 colours for the skin tone, where the yellow as the highlight, the lightest tone, then the pink was my mid-tone, and then the magenta was my darker tone. Not my magenta, sorry, ocean was the darker tone. And then I used a little bit of night around the edge to act as a, I was going to say highlight, a shadow around it. So what I did then was I found that I'd got rid of a lot of the detail, so I re-stamped my stamp and placed it over the top. One of the great things about the stamps are they're really closely cut, so you can kind of match up the shape and stamp pretty much where it was. That was slightly off center, but not enough to be a huge deal. The other thing is, when you're working with faces, is they always look odd until you do something with the eyes. As soon as you put the whites of the eyes in, and particularly the catch-alls, the little white dots in the pupils, faces look completely alien. As soon as you put the eyes in, they start to look realistic. Once I've done that, I then use my Stabilo All pencil to go over some of the lines and to make some scribbly lines. And again, I'm using a lot of cues from the lines Dina had in the original stamp. So I'm just really loosely going over some of the lines that she has on there and adding in my own little marks as well. I also took some inspiration from the wonderful Michelle Logan, who's an Australian artist, who uses a lot of white pen in her work and adds in her own linear lines to it. Makes things look really, really graphic, which I absolutely adore. And on that piece, by adding the white in it, it really popped it out from the background. So, you know, that looks completely different to how it did a few minutes ago. So I really do encourage you, don't give up, keep working at it. There's always a way to rescue things. Because I'd kind of put the image to the bottom left corner, I needed something to balance it up a little bit. So I decided to use this chipboard butterfly, and I've just added some gloss sprays to it. So I've got the yellow, the magenta, and some of the ocean, the same colors I used on the background and in my face as well. So I've sort of got that repetitive color coming through, and you know, it is what it is. Possibly with the butterfly I should have used something a little bit more contrasting to get it to stand out a little bit more, but in the end I quite liked how it blended together. It also helped when I put a little bit of Stabilo All Pencil around it, just to add a little bit of a shadow, and that helped sort of pop it out from the background somewhat. Once I'd finished doing that, I then wanted to stamp out some words to go with it. So on the stamp set, it's got some lovely quotes. I like the one on the other page, is I'm not subtle, but this one really sort of spoke to me. I am a voice, not an echo. So I'm just stamping that off and then cutting it up into the individual words. I quite like to do that with quotes, so I can choose how they go together, sort of for spacing wise, where they fit, rather than having one tiny little thing at the bottom. I can sort of spread them out just a little bit to, again, help balance my page somewhat. And if you wanted to, you could obviously edge those with a little bit of black to make them stand out that little bit more. I chose not to because I didn't want to get ink everywhere. I was struggling putting glue on these one-handed, so trying to put ink around them might have been a bit of an issue as well. But that's pretty much my page, and I have to, oh no, I'm putting some Stabilo, there you go, I'm putting some Stabilo pencil around it instead. So instead of ink all around it, I'm putting Stabilo pencil. I also chose to put the Stabilo pencil around the butterfly, and that helped push it out from the background. I knew it did something to do it. So I'm also water activating Stabilo All Pencil. So that's a water activated pencil, and it gets a really inky black line once you add some water to it. So that is my final page. You can sort of see in the close-up all the layers, and it really was a work in progress. I was getting really frustrated with myself about halfway through, going, you cannot do this, this isn't working. But I'm really glad I persisted with it, because I actually really love the final piece. So it's hopefully for you guys too, to see that, you know, it's worth working through to get to the final product. It's not always pretty on the journey, but sometimes it's actually really rewarding working through those really ugly phases, because once you get to the end, you know how much hard work you've put into it, and you can be really proud of your final piece. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.